So before I forget, so now we're recording, and we're kind of teaming up because we both are, I feel like we have teams that are all shooting for big goals. And lots of you guys, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but like sometimes you hear things over and over and over again, and yet, or like from your coach, and you're like, okay, like I know what I need to be doing, but then you hear it from someone else, and you're like, oh my gosh, like it just clicks and it makes sense. And, you know, or maybe there's a different way or whatever. There's lots of different things and processes and tips and tools and tricks and things, just so many different ways to run this business. And so we wanted to kind of share some of those things. I'm going to put it on speaker view so that it's swapping back and forth. I feel like my speaker view never works ever. I don't know why. So, but I'll make sure it goes to Ashton when we are kind of swapping out for the recording. So you guys, we kind of wanted to do a little bit of a different type of call. So we're combining forces and maybe doing, I don't know what else to call it, but like kind of like a hot seat. So if you have questions for us, for sure, write them in the chat, but we have thought of a few different topics to share about. And just kind of I'm going to kick things off by introducing Ashton a little bit, or I'll let her introduce herself, and she can kind of tell you a little bit about her background and how long she's been coaching. And those of you who are on her team, we'll flip roles, and we'll do the same for me in a little bit. But I asked Ashton to kind of share a little bit about how she is helping to develop leaders. That is one of Ashton's super strong strengths. And if you're on her team, I hope you're taking advantage and listening to the things that she is teaching you, because that is a rare thing to find. And I know that I struggle with that because I'm kind of a coddler. Like I like my coaches to like me, and I'm not very good at the tough love stuff. But when I talk to Ashton, I'm like, okay, look at how successful your coaches are. They still know you love them, and you're able to really coach them and help them to build super strong teams. And it was so cool to meet some of her coaches at leadership and to see just how strong they are as leaders. And that's something that I really know I can learn from. So I'm excited to take some notes while Ashton kind of shares a few tips. And I'm putting her on the spot. So you guys, this isn't like anything formal. So if you have questions, if you're thinking like, what are you doing in terms of this? Or what does this look like for you? Or what does your power hour look like? Or how are you mentoring your coaches? Ask those questions for one. So if you're wanting to know something, ask it. But other than that, I'm going to kind of let Ashton tell a little bit about her and share a little bit about how she is mentoring and building top coaches.
All right. Thank you. So a little about me. I have been coaching. It will be 4 years, December like 15th or 16th. Like many, I was going in for the discount. I have 4 kids, but when Beachbody came into my life, I had 3. I had spent a lot of 2014 running and just decided I wanted to switch things up. I was burnt out on running and decided to get T25 in my hands, borrowed it from a friend, and then stumbled upon this random challenge group on Facebook. And I thought, she had me fill out the form. And I remember telling my husband, like, I filled this out, but I won't get picked, kind of a deal. So then when I got the email, it was like, oh my gosh, like I got selected for this birthday group. So it was a big old deal. But So I did T25, and she made me do Shakeology, but the plan was, because I was not shake person, was going to cancel after 1 month, of course. But a couple weeks in, and I was like, holy cow, like I feel really, really good. And I didn't know if it was the Shakeology, if it was the accountability, if it was the community, or if it was the workout. But I was like, okay, I'm going to continue this. So I'll keep this kind of short, but obviously I did, decided, okay, I like this. I'm going to get the discount. And then I kind of had this nightly devotion that kind of gave me that little nudge to like, ooh, maybe you need to pursue this a little further. My background is actually in exercise science. I worked as needed, very PRN in cardiac rehab. So I loved that part of it. I loved watching people make progress. You know, it went from cardiac patients after bypass and stents, and then getting them started on an exercise, you know, regimen and teaching them heart healthy habits. So like it kind of made sense. And it was like, I loved that being at cardiac rehab, and I felt really, or like when I was there, it was like rewarding, but I spent a lot of time at home, and that's what I wanted. But yet it was still like, I just felt like I had more to give. So Beachbody was obviously like a great fit for me. However, I like, and like the hardest person on myself, or just like the confidence levels really pretty weak. And so it was like, I had every excuse why this was not going to be for me, you know? And so to kind of see where we're at now, like I honestly, driving home from Super Sunday this past weekend, I was like in tears because, you know, you look at those pictures and it's like, how did this happen? You know, like that, it wasn't my intention for that, you know, to really have this team, you know, but like, holy crap, like this isn't incredible. And it gave me chills because you went from one to then like this amazing team. And it's just like, it's like your people. So that's kind of a little bit about, I guess, where I got started. I am not like, I feel guilty in saying that, or like when people, or sorry, I guess we are, I should probably tell you that, right now, a 7-star diamond team. My second business center is in 1-star qual, and we're a 9-star qualification in my first business center. So that's where we're at. But it was December of 2000, I don't know. But after I was pregnant with our fourth, and business wasn't booming. So I'm kind of going back a little bit just to kind of catch you up to, and it was like, I wasn't losing like my passion for Beachbody, but I was starting to, the doubts that things were coming in, because I had been in a couple of years and things weren't exactly taking off. And I like to tell that because I think sometimes people are like, she came out of nowhere, like had all this, like her team just boom, you know, and that wasn't it, you know, it was the grind. And here recently I went back and kind of took my October of the first week in October income. And it was like the first year to the second year, guys, I think it went up like $40, you know, and I think people will tell you, you know, be here in a year from now. And I always say that, yeah, you want to be here in a year from now, but technically like you want to be here like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, because this business does take time. And, you know, some people will take off faster, but, you know, we were just on a call today and someone that has had that situation, then they're struggling with some coaches, their coaches, because their coaches aren't all taking off that fast, you know, like, so there are so many different ways for this business, and, you know, there's pros and cons all the way around. So you always do have to keep those blinders on, looking from left, right, you know, going forward. But then I showed them that from year 2 to 3, that tripled. And then from 3 to 4, it tripled again. So it's that compound effect. It's that consistency going over and over and over and never giving up. I kind of got off with one question, or where was I going as far as, okay, sorry. So I had that thought though, like I'm ready to kind of back off. I was hormonal, pregnant, crabby, and my success partner at the time was losing interest. So I did kind of have that. I'll keep my team and my challenges I have, but I'm not looking to really build. Like I won't push for Success Club. So December of 2016, actually, we were a 1-star diamond team. I did not hit Success Club that month. So the very end of 2016, did not hit Success Club. And we ended 2017 as a 5-star elite team. So that just goes to show, again, the power of never giving up. And my team knows this. I've kind of we took on that, like, don't give up today, give up tomorrow kind of a deal, that you'll have those months. And that's one of those months right now I'm having that I'm like, oh, it's a harder month for me, but I'm not going to give up this month. I'll give up next month, kind of that thinking. So that has kind of helped through those hard times, because they will come throughout this business without question. So that was that. So let me go on to kind of my leaders. I will say, and I know Melissa's a lot like this too, though, there is nothing more rewarding than watching your coaches hit goals. And that is seriously incredible. And watching my, but again, this is where I feel guilty, because I can't say that this system is how this is happening. But I will tell you that I have found all of my coaches, leaders from my challenge groups, and they bleed blue. Like, I seriously don't have one on my team that I'm worried is going to jump ship for something over here that is bright and flashy. They seriously love what they do, and have just, I think, watched the grinds from day one. I always say I have shown up on social media some way, some shape, every single day since I signed up to be a coach, but one. And that was after my fourth was born and I had a spinal or a blood patch. So there was one day, and like I said, I was on social the next day apologizing that I wasn't on the day before. But there is just so much power and consistency. And I think I've seen that from my upline, and she did not spoon feed me one bit. And I knew she was there for me 100%, but I wasn't given scripts. I ran my very, very first challenge group all by myself. I probably could have jumped into hers, but I didn't know her. And so I was a little intimidated by her. So I think it was just kind of my own, like, okay, here I go. And that's kind of what my girls, I feel like, have just kind of taken on. I'm one that will get on every single call if I can. And I always give my girls shout outs, because we really do represent pretty well as far as our big, Team Fit and Funky groups. I get on and it's like, oh my gosh, like, there they are. And I think that just is kind of the domino effect, where it's, this is how my leader did it. That's how I'm doing it. Then that's how, it just happens. And I think one thing too is I've never made this, I hope not, made this seem easy, because it hasn't been, with kids and just kind of little pockets of here and there. And so I think when they go in, they know they're going to have to work for it. They know that it's not going to be raining money at Diamonds. Diamond's a big goal. We get there, but we're not done. And I think that's just where a lot of my girls, they see the vision of where they're going. They're not just diamond bound. They're diamond bound and beyond.
That's so cool too, Ashton. I was going to hop in and just say, like, I love that your really successful coaches are the ones that are willing to do the hard work, because we all know, no matter like how much we want to like deny or agree, like, we all know that anything worthwhile takes a lot of hard work. And like, you can apply it to like motherhood or sports or like literally anything. If you are going to be successful, you really do have to work hard for it. But the hustle, like in the beginning, will pay off so much long term. Like, it's so worth it, And
I think that is just it. I mean, in your transformations, and that's what I loved, like Beachbody. It's like, we were told we had to work for our results. It wasn't like I don't even want to say it because I'm not gonna, I don't want to bash
like an easy way out. Yeah, like there's no pill, right? Like isn't like you can be like, oh, I'm just gonna like go buy this magical unicorn and all of a sudden I'm gonna be like a 5-star diamond. Like
Yeah,
isn't how it works.
exactly. But I think how awesome is it when you look in the mirror and or put on your pants and it feels, you can tell the difference, like knowing that you put in that work. And like you said, it's just like a domino effect as far as your business. Like you hit that $1,000 mark or whatever, like it's because you did the work. Like you showed up and now you have coaches that are showing up. And I mean, it is anything. And I think that's where a lot, like I like to do that because I like that feeling as far as like, I did this, even though sometimes I'm telling myself like, you can't do this. Cause again, I'm still have issues with that. But then it's like, okay, I've kind of tweaked it now where it's like, that's motivation. Like, let me prove it to you as I'm telling myself like, okay, watch me kind of a deal. But yeah, I think it is.
I love that you just said that, like prove it to yourself. But I also feel like we just like have to prove it to like the world. I think there's so many people who just don't believe. Even when you see the success stories, even when you see people doing such incredible things and changing their life. And like, that's, I think the coolest part about being a coach. Even if I were to just help like one person lose that 15 or 25 pounds that they've got postpartum, like for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just know how good it feels. Like you said, when you stand in front of the mirror and you're putting on pants, you're like, these actually don't fit me anymore. Like I have lost the weight. I've done the work and I know it's long-term. And I like, for me, after I had like so much success with 2B Mindset, I just knew I was like, well, if I can do this, I know anyone can do this and I know how to help them. And that just is so empowering. And it really goes with coaching too. Like I've done it. I know how it works and I know how to help all of my coaches do exactly what I've done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think too, as far as, and I've been a little bit more open here just recently, kind of just income wise within my team, because I think there for a while, it was like, I'm going first, but I'm not, like, I don't know. You kind of reach that point where you're like, holy crap, this is real, and I think at first it was when your upline is in like insanity videos and, like that, where they just seem like so far out there that you're like, I can't, that's for her. It's not for me. And I think that kind of probably helps some with my coaches too, where I do have a pretty local like Nebraska team. And, they either knew me going into it, or we had some mutual connection or something, but it's like, okay, if Ashton can do this, kind of a deal, then I think that instills like legit confidence. But I'll say, following in Danielle's footsteps was like, she can make this work, of course, but can I? And now it's like, holy crap, this is legit. So.
Yeah. And I agree. Like we both kind of have similar uplines who were just super successful and have a lot of really successful coaches under them. And I think I like that you said that, like, you can't compare yourself to them. Like you only have your journey and success looks different for everyone, honestly. And that's really something that, I was talking with someone at the Utah corporate office when we held our retreat a month or so ago. And we were talking about like, what would success look like when you're onboarding a new coach? For you, you're like, okay, like success is they need to hit emerald and then they need to hit diamond. And like, that's success. But to them, success might be like having a community of women up, like lifting them up through a really hard time. Or it might be, losing the last 15 pounds in a challenge group. Or it might be, it looks different for everyone. It might be leaving a full-time job. Others, it might just be supplementing so they can pay for diapers. Like success can look so, so different. Jeff and I were laughing because when I signed up as a coach, my goal, honestly, like at first I was like, okay, like if I could make $500 a month to pay for the diapers and like all just kind of like the extra stuff that, it accumulates and you're like, oh, like we have like not having to like really count it or focus on it or be so worried about it. If I could pay for all that little extra baby stuff, because our baby was 4 months at the time, that would be success for me. I was like, that would be enough.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we almost get selfish because success is so addicting. It's so addicting and you're like, okay, well, like that was easy. So like making $500 a month, that means I'm helping like, a couple people a week. Like I can do that. That was maybe easy or something. And so then we think, okay, maybe $1,000 a month. Maybe that's my goal. And maybe I can pay for my car payment and our diapers and our groceries. Like maybe I can pay for all of that. And then when you start hitting these big goals and you're like, oh, I just hit $1,000 a month and it wasn't that hard. But then we just get harder and harder on ourselves and we forget to really be grateful for the little things and why we started. We forget that we're like, gosh, when I really started, I was so focused on helping other women to feel what I was feeling. And we lose sight of our purpose because we start comparing ourselves to what other coaches are doing. But I think in building leaders, like you've said, like you really have to give them ownership of their team, ownership of running things, giving them that freedom to grow and helping them along the way to appreciate the steps and the hard work that they're putting in to get these little wins or these tiny little blessings. For us, that was a huge blessing. And I look at us now and it's like, eventually this business brought me home to my kids. And I keep thinking like, I feel like a little selfish wanting anything else. And like, all I really want is just to help another mom feel what I have felt. Mm-hmm. That's really like, that's my ultimate goal now, is to help all my teammates to do what I've done, because I know how great it feels to be home. It's freaking hard. Like, I'm not going to lie. The first week I was home, I was telling Miranda this. I was like, what did I just do? Because this is way harder than going to work every day. And like, especially when your baby's pooping like nonstop, like on the carpet and all over, and you're like putting them in the bathtub and they poop in the bathtub and they're putting, it's like, I'm like, I need to go to work. Like that was easier. Let someone else deal with this. But it's true. It's the thing is like, even though it's hard, you love it still. Yeah. And Jeff Hill always says that. He shared that at leadership, and I think you heard him talk there, Ashton. But he shares this story of the law of the harvest all the time in the corporate offices. It's kind of like his little spiel that he gives. And I'm realizing I'm talking a lot with my hands. That's just what I do. Sorry.
I do too.
But he shares this story, and at the very end, the farmer, this potato farmer, he says, it's hard work, but we like the work. And I think that's how I feel about coaching. It's hard work. It's kind of like motherhood. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes you have to clean up a lot of poop. Like sometimes there's just stuff that you're like, I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to cook dinner. I don't really want to, whatever. But you like it at the same time. Like, you might not like cleaning up the poop, but you like the hard work. It feels good to see the end result. It feels good when your kid comes and gives you a hug. It feels good when you get to see a mom spend more time with their kid or feel more confident in their skin. It feels good seeing all these people benefiting from a simple challenge group. It seems so simple, but yet it is so powerful. And that's really what these tools are that we, that you especially have given your coaches, of being, that leader and changing lives and giving people the freedom to choose. And that was like my biggest thing. Like, I didn't want to live my life with someone else telling me like, you have to be to work at this time. Even if your kid is sick, you have to stay at work until this time. Like, even if you've got other stuff going on, you can't make it to the post office on time because you're work schedule doesn't allow for you to make it there before it closes. Like, you know what I mean? I was sick of someone else dictating my schedule in my life. I wanted to just have the freedom to work like I like to work, but I wanted the freedom to choose when and how and what I was doing.
Yep.
But
I agree. And I think too that through the hard, like looking back, I mean, whether it's the hard or the hard times, like that is where the change happens, the growth happens. I mean, it's through those times that you look back later and you're like, that made me a better person, or that made me a stronger person. And I mean, it's the same thing again in our workouts. Like it's through those hard workouts that
you grow.
So yeah, I agree.
So your journey, would you say like at what point in your business did you guys really start to grow?
Well, like I said, it was like the end of, okay, so I signed up the very end of 2014. So I held my very first challenge group January of 2015. I went to Summit my first year as a diamond. And then the next year I went as a 1-star. The next year I went as a 1-star. I did have, Steph was one of my first, I built my husband to diamonds, and then Steph hit diamond, but they were on the same leg. So, you know, we were, like I said, in those first 2 years, like the difference as far as income wise was like $40 from one October to the next October. So I would say it wasn't until 2017, that year that things really.
Was that the beginning of your third year? Or third year?
Would that have been like
14, 15, or
it will be 4 years. We have coached 4 years so the beginning of my third. Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of cool to think about.
I don't know.
beginning of your second.
Yeah, the end of your second year.
Okay. So
someone who's smarter than us.
Yeah, right.
Steph is.
Yeah, thanks, Steph. But yeah, and I honestly, like, I got Lindsay on here somewhere, and I went in December struggling. January, I thought, okay, give it January. That's when everyone's excited, and so I'm like, okay, give it then. And obviously January happened, and things were going a little better. So then we got to February, and we were rolling. And then I did, and I can't even remember if it was an idea from someone, if it was my own. I don't know how it came to be, but I did hold a team gathering at my house, and we worked out that morning. We then had like Shakeology bar, and just kind of hung out for a while, and then we got ready and ended up doing like team pictures. I just got like a photographer, small town photographer, and then we went out to eat. And like Lindsay to this day says, I think she was like a fallen emerald when she came, but that was like her little like aha, like I want to be part of this, or and I honestly think that was a good start for us. And then we just kind of did some more team building activity stuff like in August, and we road trip to Kansas City, a big group of us. And I think just a lot of that, we started doing a little bit more team-wise together. And I know that's hard at times because your team's not all as close as maybe mine is. I'm not that we're all real close. Like Steph is almost like you're 3 hours away. And so, I mean, there's some travel time and stuff in there, but I don't know. I think there was, or like, I guess I was going to say, if you don't have like a local team, real local to do a lot of that kind of stuff, I always encourage, get your challengers together, or, do those little things. And now, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing that I think there's all these extra Beachbody activities now. And
yeah, it's
like we haven't really done, as much as I would like.
There are so many things, and like, there's always like every quarter there's a trip, or every, and then there's like super Saturdays. And so there are a lot of get-togethers. You're right.
Yeah, but I always say, you don't have to wait for those. Make your own. As far as it doesn't have to be anything big or special, just get together for your workouts or a coffee date or whatever, and just
Love that.
So do you want to? Is that any questions for me?
I was going to say, let's open it up. Who has a question? And feel free to unmute yourself, because it doesn't have to be like, let's type it and nobody talks.
I'm really bad at looking over there. So
what do you guys like? If you could have like one thing, like what is something you feel like either you're struggling with or you have a fear about, or like it could be anything, honestly, but what is something that you feel like you really need?
I'll just throw this out, because this is actually something that shocked me. Actually, last year was the first year we had hit, or that we were an elite team. And honestly, going into that year, I was really kind of clueless as far as what elite was. And it just seemed, again, like so unreachable. And I always like to, not that I'm like bragging about this, because I would love this to be higher, but you guys, I sign like 2 to 3 coaches a month. Like 5 is like a stellar month. Success Club is usually, the last few months it's been lower, but typically, like 10, 18. I've hit 32 once, and that's January. And then other than that, it's like 10, like 18s. Like I'm like, whoa.
But it's like consistent, right? Like you always hit Success Club.
Always hit Success Club, except for that one December of 2016.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I just think sometimes we think, or I did, it was just like these people, these elite and stuff like that just seemed so unreachable, but it's just, and like I say, I'm not saying like just shoot for the bare minimum kind of a deal, but I think sometimes knowing what's possible without blowing it out of
hit 400 SC
to become emerald, diamonds, like we've made it just so much bigger and harder than it really is. And I think, that just kind of domino effect where it's like, oh, I can never hit premier, or I can never hit elite. And it's like, again, you can, and it's just doing the vitals. And I told my team this multiple times, but like I have the Danielle on this side of my shoulder, and I have the Micah Folsom on this side of my shoulder. Like Danielle is like, this business is not hard. You get up, you drink a shake, you work out, you talk to people, and you read personal development. Like that's her. And then Micah's over here just saying, do your crap. And I think that is just kind of seriously the two that I'm like, okay, like just get to work. Don't overcomplicate it. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, so I want to hear what your thoughts are. So Natalie asked, from a belief standpoint, it's hard when you've been working at it, like you had said, like even for a couple of years, and maybe have gone up and down, or like hit diamond or dropped or whatever. And maybe you have coaches that you've given this advice to, but how do you help your coaches believe that it can happen, and lead with confidence that that's going to work for them too, when you feel like maybe you have been up and down in the business yourself?
Yeah, I think for me, because I have, it's that whole like feel, felt, found. Like I understand how you're feeling, because I have experienced that too, where, there are those high times, and then there are those lows where you're like, is anything going to happen? But, I always think that gold digger, whatever, like the little graphic where, he turns around and walks out, and then like the person below him doesn't, and it's like this far away. So, I mean, you just honestly never know. And I think of like the Emily Favre kind of a deal, where it's just like, she was a coach for how long, and sat, at like Diamond or whatever, and kind of went in and out. You just never know in that one switch, or that one person, or that, it can be as simple as that. So at any point that you give up, I mean, that's it. Like you'll never know, but you keep pushing on. One, I mean, hopefully you would do the stuff anyway, as far as you're going to hopefully be working out, hopefully. And so you just keep at it because you don't know when that one little moment, it may seem like it's never going to come because so-and-so's came already and, but it's in the time, I guess. I don't know how to put it into words, but like you give up and that's it, I guess. So keep trucking on. Because there's times where, again, I've had great times, and now I will be honest, like right now I'm kind of struggling. I sent a message to a group, like the Fit and Funky Elite group or whatever. I'm like, okay, I need good personal development recommendations because like my confidence right now is not great, so.
Don't you feel like a lot of that mindset, this is one thing I think also really happens kind of unconsciously, subconsciously, not unconsciously, like you're going to be conscious. Subconsciously, I was like, what is the word I'm looking for? Is when we're maybe in a weird headspace, maybe something's going on, our kids are sick, or we're not in our groove, or we've been traveling a lot, or we're just kind of out of the rhythm, we get into maybe a mindset that we're not normally in. Even if we're doing all of the same activities, people can sense that. They're like freaking dogs, okay? They can sense when you are not confident. They can sense when you maybe don't have that full belief, and they can sense if there's something off. And I really think that is why personal development is so important, because I can tell you when I just like decided I didn't care anymore what people thought. I didn't care anymore. Like I knew what worked for me, and I knew it was going to work for other people. And so I just started really opening up. And like just talking to people like I'd talk to my best friends, like treating them like they are my best friend. Even if I've never met them, I'll tell you one thing. They are grateful for it. They'll be like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known you forever. Or like, I've never had a coach. I've had a lot of coaches talk to me, but nobody's ever talked to me like a friend. They've always kind of treated me like a number. And you'll start to see like people can feel your passion. They can feel your confidence. They can feel your belief in them. And that is what they need. We had Chris Downing in Utah at Super Saturday last weekend. And you guys, it's so crazy because I feel like his mission, for one, his contract is up. I don't know if you guys know that. So he doesn't have a contract anymore with Beachbody. And he was just talking to us. He's like, I just know my worth. And I know like if they want me, they'll renew my contract. And if they don't, like he's kind of pushed a lot of buttons with some of the trainers just because he is so involved with the coaches. He really actually cares about the coaches. He started crying on stage, and we were all kind of like, whoa, like this, like he was really feeling the emotions, and we could feel it from him. But he was talking about how it just kills him because coaches do not believe in themselves. No matter if they say they do, there are just so many coaches who come into this business and they just don't have that belief that they can do this, or that they can change their life, or that they can lose the weight. There's like, even if they're like, yeah, I know I can do it. Like I'm going to rock this challenge group. I'm going to do it. And then they don't. Then they're like, freak, like I thought that was going to be the thing. I thought like that, but there's like that little bit of doubt, and it holds you back from your full potential. And he got emotional. He's like, you guys just don't love yourselves. He's like, you have to love yourself before you can love anyone else. And it really is so true. And I found that to be true myself. And I didn't put it together until I heard him say that. And I was like, you know what? When I just accepted who I am, like without fear of judgment, and I just started talking about things I care about, and I just started sharing what I love, and I was way more open to inviting people to do this with me and talking about pricing and talking about all these things that feel so taboo and scary. When I put all those fears aside and I just started to love myself for who I am, that is when I found a lot more people coming to me. and a lot more people saying yes. And a lot of those no's, then months later, years later, people saying, okay, I'm ready. Like, I've seen you. I've been watching you. I know you've done it. That's why your transformation and your belief and your love for yourself, it doesn't matter what size you are. It doesn't matter how much weight you've lost. It doesn't matter. Like, all that matters is that you're happy. That's why we're coaches. Like, that's why we're here. We just want to spread more joy. Mm-hmm. And like, people, they think a size is going to make them happy. Fitting into a certain pant size, fitting into, like, looking a certain way, having a certain hair color, whatever. That's not what brings you joy. And we all know that. And like, that's why I knew I would do whatever it freaking took to make coaching work for me, because my joy was in the daycare. Like, my joy was not with me, and that was what I needed. And so I just said, and that's what happens in your fitness journey. When you're so freaking sick and tired of not being happy, you just say, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to say no to the cake. I'm going to say no at the birthday party. I'm only going to have one bite. I'm only going to just taste it and enjoy it, and that's it. And I'm going to make these little sacrifices so long term, I feel the joy and I feel happy and I feel confident, and I know that I am being authentic and true to myself and what I really want in life. And you have to just get to that point. And it sucks that we have to get to that point, but when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you do it. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes our why is just not strong enough. Our purpose, you have to really feel it in order to make the sacrifices. You know, I have so many coaches who are like, oh, like, I can't get on the call because, you know, I've got to do this, or I've got to cook dinner. I'm like, you can listen while you're cooking dinner. Like, I have there are coaches who I've seen them do sneak peeks while they're cooking dinner. I'm like, good for you, because that shows the real hustle, the real grind. And I want everyone on my team to know, like, you don't have to have all the time in the world. You just have to be willing to do it whenever you can. Like, in the cracks, fit it in when it works for you. And that might look different for everyone. Like, for me, I don't work well when I'm like doing other stuff. I have to be super focused. I have to have that. But I know so many other people who can be doing these stuff. They can be sending invites in between flipping the hamburger. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to be so dialed in and so committed to reaching your goal that you're willing to do whatever it takes. I love that, Erica. It's so true. It helps. It really does help to be relatable, to draw on the people that you're looking for. That's so, so true. And I think a lot of us see these top coaches and we're like, oh my gosh, like, I have to have the most beautiful pictures and I have to, like, everything has to look perfect. I promise you, you don't. I never once had a filter until like this year. Like, I never once had perfect scripts, and like, you don't have to be perfect. I think the more imperfect you are, the better, because the more someone is going to look at you and say, I feel like I'm a lot like that girl. Like, if she can do it, I can do it. That makes, you know, that makes sense to me. If I were to look at someone who had 50,000 followers and she sent me an invite, I'd be like, I have 500 followers. Like, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. And Chalene Johnson, if you haven't been following her, she's been sharing a ton of stuff about social media, and she talks about that. She says, you don't need, you know, a huge following to have a super successful business. What you need is people who are following you because they like you and they want, you know, they relate to you. Oh my gosh, that's funny, Lindsay. I love it. While I'm coloring my client's hair, she's like listening to PD, sharing their deepest, darkest secrets, and she's kind of listening.
Melissa.
Yes, Miranda, what's up?
Today, when you messaged me about, do you know Rhea? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And she hadn't got back to me yet. And I was like, well, she reached out to me this morning. I think one of the struggles that I was having until today, it kind of dawned on me, was like, who am I going to continue to talk to? Like, all the people that are watching my stories, it's all the same people, like, blah, blah, blah. it's nothing new. Nothing is chiming, no new insight on any new people. And then I get a message from Rhea, who is a cousin of a military spouse who I've never met in person. We met through our husband's battalion, and we met through like a Facebook spouse page, started following each other. Well, she's super amazing. I love her and feel like I've known her, and I've never met her in person. But her cousin happened to follow who she follows on Instagram, and she commented on my picture and was like, "What are you doing? Like, I need your help." And and I was like, "What? Like, who are you?" Like, I have no idea who you are. But she was so nice, and she just happened to see one of my posts. And I was like, holy cow, like I need to stop telling myself that I don't have anybody to talk to anymore, because I do have people to talk to. So I don't know. It was just kind of a really cool thing to happen on a Tuesday. Like, it made me feel like my efforts not being wasted, that like I'm not talking for no reason.
Well, and think about if you would have been afraid to share that, or to put that post up there, or to share something probably that was scary for you.
Yeah.
Carol never would have seen it, and she never would have been inspired, and she never would have taken the chance to send you a message. And can you imagine how many people are looking at our stuff?
Yeah.
Saying, like, no, she's going to think I'm weird if I message her.
Well, and I think too, like, so I think the whole, who said it about being relatable? Erica, because she said in her initial message that she was like, everything that you were saying, like all the points you're bringing up, like I'm struggling with that. I'm 10 months postpartum. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not 10, I'm a little past 10 months postpartum. I get it. Like I'm still there and, still struggling with those things. So it was just really neat. And it just helped me realize, like, I'm not wasting my breath, and that it's not going to be like this overnight thing that's going to happen, and like just stop comparing myself to like everyone else.
That is so cool. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Okay, so any last questions? I know we've almost been on for an hour, so I really hope you guys have felt like you've gotten some little nuggets from this. But is there any last questions or anything that you want to add, Ashton?
No, I just want you to kind of introduce, I guess, yourself a little bit. We kind of introduced, and then I went, and then you kind of rolled into yours.
It's totally fine.
Let's just.
Yeah, so I feel like Ashton and I kind of,
go ahead.
we kind of, I guess, connected because our stories are really pretty similar. I've been a coach for a year longer than her, so almost 5 years, and end of December is when I think I joined in like the beginning of December, but didn't really do anything for a month or so. But yeah, so I'm coming up on my 5th year anniversary, and I was a really slow and steady, like growing coach. I didn't hit diamond like as fast as everyone always told you should. In my day, back in the day, it was like diamond in 60 days, diamond in 90 days, like no longer than that. And I didn't hit it in that. I think it took me like maybe 5 to 6 months to hit diamond, which in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. But it was expected that you hit diamond within like 60 to 90 days. And, and so I think I kind of felt like I just wasn't one of like the top coaches. And so I just kind of floated at diamond, and I was a diamond at 2 years in the business. And, I hadn't hardly even started to build my husband's or help him build his business. And so I just kind of was sitting there, but I had a huge goal to quit my job, like I had kind of told you guys. And so what I was doing was I was slowly building my weak leg and helping my coaches on my weak leg to build their teams. And so we were all kind of like hovering around. Like I said, I was still I was a diamond coach at 2 years. And slowly I started to help my coaches to hit diamond. So once I had felt like I'd kind of balanced everything out, I helped my husband get to diamond, and then one of my other coaches got to diamond, and that was 2-star, and it was huge. But then I kind of just stuck around at 2-star for a little while. And you guys, I'll tell you, like at 1 year in my coaching business, I remember telling my husband, I think I'm just going to quit. Like, I'm not very good at this. I'm not growing as fast as everyone else says. I don't hit Success Club every single month. Like, literally, I think I hit it like 10 months out of the 12. I was not like the perfect coach. I didn't go to Summit for the first 3 years of my business because I was coaching the volleyball team, and we had tournaments all summer and open gyms, and I was a teacher, and I had, no one to watch my kids, and my husband worked full time. And I just I didn't think it was important. I'll be honest. And I was like, I can just watch these videos. Like, they put them up afterwards. So I'll just watch them all, like, when they put them up. And then I went to Summit, and I felt like it changed my life because it was like being there made it so much more real. I kind of just like made up what it should look like. And then I went to Summit, and I was like, yeah, this is actually legit. Like, this is a real company with freaking killer coaches who are doing so much more. Like, what if I actually tried? Like, what if I put way more effort into this? Where would I be? And that's when I turned my focus. I was like, if I want to be successful, I have to help my coaches be successful. That's what it comes down to. And that's where my mission to help other moms leave their full-time jobs really came from. Is I had, at 2.5 years into the business, I left my full-time job and came home to my kids. It was really hard, like I said. And then it was amazing. And then I was like, oh, I get to create my own schedule, and I get to do all this stuff, and I get to be present with my kids, and I don't have to like take days off when my kids are sick, and I can have a baby and get paid when I'm on maternity leave. Like, that doesn't exist as a teacher in Utah. You don't get paid to have kids. You don't even get your paid time leave. So that's kind of where my story really took off. And right now we're an 8-star diamond team. I'm 3-star in my second CBC, almost a diamond in my third CBC. And, we're going places. But my biggest goal, and this is what I tell everyone, because honestly, for one, I don't want to go to leadership alone anymore. Like, I want to go with my girls. I don't want to be sitting with like everyone else that I don't really know. Like, I want to be sitting with my team, hanging out with my girls, hanging out with all the people that I love and care about, and be surrounded and doing the team building activity with my team, and like doing all those super fun things with my girls. That's who I want there. I want to build, and I don't even care if I get there, but I want to build superstar diamonds under me. I want those girls to feel that confident that they know they can do it, because I actually really do believe that I have superstars on my team. Mm-hmm. I look at them and I think, gosh, they're like way better coaches than I am. They are so like organized, and I'm a hot mess. Like, I sometimes, like, honestly, you guys, sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how I am as successful as I am, because so many of my coaches, they're so much better at this than I am. And it really is just a matter of belief. And I think sometimes I know it more than they know it. And a lot of you are on this call right now, so I'm talking to you. But that's what I want more than anything in the world. Honestly, I could care less if I ever hit superstar. I have everything I could ever need because I've got my family. But this right here, like this team, all of you on this call, like, I want that success for you because I know what it will do for your family. I know your goals. I know why you're here. And that's why I want you to hit those goals. And that's why sometimes I get scared to push you, because I'm like, I don't want them to feel like I'm pushing them to do something they don't want to do. But I know the purpose that you're here for, and I know it's hard, but we're in it together, Anyway. I know, I'm like getting emotional. Sorry.
No.
But I just think it's so hard because we are so much harder on ourselves than we really should be. Instead of asking like why what am I doing wrong? So we sometimes just have to get creative. We just have to change things up a little bit, change our wording, just tell people what they need. They don't go to a trainer to be like, they're not interviewing a trainer. They're going to a trainer at a gym because they're like, hey, I want to lose 15 pounds like before the new year. Like, can you help me do this? That's why they're coming to you too. People come to you and they'll say like, I need to lose 10 to 15 pounds, or I need to lose 100 pounds. They're not saying like, how much money is it? Like, they might, but all you have to say is, if you get this package, you're going to get this result. And I'm going to help you get there. Anyway.
Good stuff.
I'm reading these comments. You guys are so cute. It's so true. We can totally decide our future. What's funny, I'll share this because I just read what Jerica had written. She's like, I get embarrassed when people ask how long I've been coaching and what my rank is or how much I make after being in it a year and a half. But what matters is that I'm still here. Melanie Mitchell always says this. She's like, nobody on the internet knows what any rank means. Literally. Oh my gosh, I just remembered this. Do you guys know who Brittany Leggett is? Or I don't know what her married name is now. Schumer or something like that, yeah. So she was talking, or maybe it was Bonnie Engel, I don't know, one of them. She was talking to someone and had been like talking about coaching, and this girl sent her a message one night and she was like, hey, I'm going to go with this girl. She's an emerald. And she told me like she can get me to like the biggest rank. Like she told me we're going to go big places. So I'm going to go with her. Like, I'm really sorry that I'm not going to come with you. I'm not going to join your team, but I really just know I'm going to reach my goals with this other coach. And it was either Bonnie or Brittany or one of them. And she was like, whoa, this girl, Bonnie, is a freaking like 15-star million club earner, whatever. Like she's got all these accolades, but literally people on the internet, they don't know. They have no idea the difference between like an emerald coach and a diamond coach or a star diamond or superstar diamond. They don't know. So act like you are that superstar diamond coach and go and get people to join your team so that, and give them that belief. Like they don't have to know what you are. They don't have to understand any of it. All they have to know is that they can do it. And Bonnie was like, I need to figure out who this emerald coach is who's recruiting all my leads or whatever, because she's killer. She's like, I want that girl on my team.
Right. That's awesome.
I know that happened like last week or something. I was dying. That's so funny, but it's so true. It doesn't matter where you're at right now. That's so funny. Okay. Anyone have any last minute things? I have loved this conversation, and we didn't really know where this would go, but I just felt like we had a lot to share, and I don't know, I knew that we'd come up with something good. So
yeah, okay. I think it's just fun to bring teams together and just kind of hear from, other people. And
I know. It is so true. Okay, well, I think we should wrap things up. We've been on for an hour, and I know that it's late on the East Coast and probably bedtime everywhere else. So thank you guys so much, and I'll send this recording to you, Ashton, so that you can share it with your team and anyone who couldn't get on the call tonight. And for my team, I'll post it in our team page. And thank you so much for getting on. And if you have any questions or need anything, please let us know. But do you want to do a picture?
Yeah, I was going to try to sneak one in, but if everybody wants to.
A picture. Okay, everyone smile. There's a couple pages, so we can get a few and I'll share them too. Don't you hate when your camera's all blurry?
My phone is just
I'm like, ugh, got oil on it. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3. There's another page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll send you guys these so that you can post on your stories or wherever you want, but I love that everyone's like, cheese. Yeah, we all have kids. We're like, say cheese. Such jerks. Okay, love you guys. Thanks so much, Ashton.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Have a good night.